Aloha, entrepreneurs, business owners, business professionals, and creatives. Happy Thursday, and thank you for joining me on video 2 of my brand video series. Quick recap of myself. I'm Bree, photographer, owner, and brand strategist of Bree Aloha Studio. Today we'll be discussing recognizing who you're trying to reach. Let's go ahead and dive into the content. So today we're going to be recognizing who are you trying to reach, creating that ideal client, and then leaving you with an action item. So we want to start off with filtering your audience. The number one thing we want to talk about is geography. If your product or service is for a certain area, you definitely want to make sure you keep that in mind. Some of my services, for example, are virtual, so you don't need to be with me face to face. So you definitely want to make sure that you are keying in on your target in regards to miles away from your studio, miles away from your business, in order to target your audience out. You also want to think about your product and service. Who is your product for? Is it for an elder generation? Is it for a newer generation? For example, they have the wrinkle creams out now. You're definitely not targeting the younger generation in that category. You want to target the older generation. So you definitely want to make sure that you're filtering out who your product or service is truly for. In addition to that, you want to think about value. Why would that person think that product or service is valuable to them? What is your product or service providing? What is it answering? What is it offering? That's another key filter that you want to use when targeting your audience. We also want to think about lifestyle. What type of lifestyle do they live? If you're selling yachts, you definitely don't want to target a low income area. You get what I'm saying? If you're selling yachts, you want to target someone that lives that type of lifestyle, that has that connection, which we're going to jump over to income, but has that affordability to meet your product or service. In addition, what occupation do they have? For example, for me, my products and services are targeted towards businesses, are targeted towards entrepreneurs, are targeted towards creatives. So for your product and service, does that person need to be a specific occupation in order for your product to fit them? For example, if you're selling medication, pharmaceuticals, you're going to target more doctors' offices. You're going to target more pharmacies that be able to sell your product. Just something to think about when you think about occupation. Then you want to think about income. Going back to the lifestyle, can they afford your product or service? You want to make sure the income target is in relations to the amount of residual, so leftover income after they pay their necessities, their bills. Do they have enough to get your product or service? Is your product or service in their category range? In addition to that, you want to think about gender. Is it for females? Is it for males? And in regards to the new hair dye that I saw, they have a hair dye that's targeting men now. So they would be able to utilize that as their target audience. So definitely think about if your product or service is gender specific. Then I don't know why I wrote that again, but let's skip it. Lifestyle is really important, obviously. Then we're going to think about beliefs. So what do they believe? For example, if you are a vegan-based grocery store, a vegan-based product, you're going towards their belief system of being vegan. Someone who eats meat more often, they're not going to want to be in your target audience realm because they don't eat vegan products as often as an actual vegan does. So definitely making sure that you're hitting their belief system. What do they believe as a person? And that's what you want to filter one of your target audiences. Last and not least, ethnicity. So, for example, is your product targeted towards African Americans? When it comes to hair products, there are African American hair products that are just targeted to that genre of individuals. So is it in relation to that for your product or service? You got to make sure you're thinking of that as well when you're filtering out your audience. So now what I wanted you to go ahead and do is jot down what your ideal audience is. Who does your ideal audience look like? For example, I went ahead and wrote down my ideal audience. My ideal audience is female or male. So I'm going off of the gender filter. Female or male, okay? I'm looking for professional entrepreneurs, businesses, business professionals. income area, I'm looking at higher income because they get, in order for them to afford my services and afford my product. And my programs, they have to have a little bit more residual income. So that's something I'm looking for as well. In regards to geographic area, I am able, like I stated, to do things virtually as well as in person, and I can travel. So Virginia and beyond. I definitely, target my geographical area within Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Suffolk, Hampton Roads area, but I am definitely able to travel. Like I have a few clients in North Carolina, Arizona, things of that nature, because that's where my family lives. So I would travel there often and be able to book them. So definitely thinking about that. I'm also thinking about their lifestyle. I want them, they have a busy, active lifestyle. They don't have time to think about their brand. They don't have time to do brand content. They don't have time to do multiple 30-minute photo shoots per day, which add up to what, roughly around 45 hours per month in regards to doing photography photo shoots. So they have a pretty active lifestyle. They have little to no time. They like to spend their time wisely. They want to make sure that they are having the dedication to be with their business, be with their family, their friends, and still live the lifestyle they would love to live. They expect top class service. That's something also my ideal client is. They value their brand image and promise. They value what they provide to their audience and their clients. And last but not least, they're creative. I know it's covered a little bit there. They're creative. So I want you to jot down 10 things or so on what your ideal audience looks like. Again, grab it from the filtering. What geographic, product, value, lifestyle, occupation. Think about those key things when you're drafting up your ideal audience. So now that we went ahead and discussed your ideal audience, we're going to move to imagining your ideal client. And when we imagine your ideal client, I want you to draw them. Literally a little stick figure. This is Jessica. Say, hey, Jessica. Nice to meet you. And what do I think about when I see Jessica? I'm asking her why she would buy this product. Why would she buy this product or service? And that's what you need to think about when you draw your person, your ideal client. Who will buy this? What do they need? What solution are you giving them to their problem? What are you actually offering them? What are they searching for on Google? Are they coming up on your SEOs? Are they coming up when you're searching that issue? Is it like, I need branding assistance? I need brand photography, connecting with my audience. That's what my individual will be searching. They also want to think about, what is their problem? What problem does Jessica have that I need a solution for? How do they experience using your product or service? Is it virtual? Is it in person? How does she like to experience that? And when you think about that, I want you to write down the answers to these questions. So my ideal client, Jessica here, she appreciates the work I do. She loves the service I provide to her. She trusts my expertise. She lets me use my creativity when it comes to brand development and brand strategy. She refers other dream clients to me. She promotes my work and she pays me well and in advance. That's what that says. Sorry, it's a little cricket there. So pays me well and in advance. So I want you to go ahead and write down 5 qualities of your ideal client. What does Jessica look like to you? What does Bob look like to you? Why would she or he buy your product or service? These are the questions you need to ask yourself in order to create your ideal client. Then when you create your ideal client, you can create marketing strategies, you can create advertising, revolving, targeting, reaching that ideal client. I know Jessica, loves my service and expertise that I provide in my creativity. So I'm going to create advertisings around that. And that's what you need to do in order to reach your ideal client, in order to recognize who you're trying to reach, right? So I'm going to go ahead and leave you with today's action item, which is research your ideal audience. You can do this online through Google search, through LinkedIn, through actually going to conferences, which is my my preference in order to meet my ideal clients, jumping into people's direct messages, and being able to connect with them. In order to reach your ideal client or research your ideal client, this is one of the most boring steps, I'm not gonna lie to you, but it's essential in order for you to know who you're trying to reach, right? And after you have done that, after you've researched your ideal client, I want you to go ahead and comment one of your qualities that you have for your ideal client. What are one of the qualities that you want to make sure that your ideal client has? And when you go ahead and write down all this information from your qualities to your ideal audience, your ideal client, you research your ideal client, you want to keep all this information for video 3, which we're going to be crafting your personal brand profile. And this will be able to fully assist you in regards to that. I hope you enjoyed today's content and found it very valuable. I can't wait for you to join me. Thank you for joining me today, where we recognize who you're truly trying to reach. We created your ideal audience, we imagined your ideal client, and I left you with an assignment of researching your ideal client. If you have any additional questions or comments, definitely drop them below or go into my direct message and I will message you back personally. I can't wait to see you guys on Tuesday, where we'll be discussing crafting your personal brand profile. So exciting. Have a great weekend. Mahalo.